Yo, what is up? We are back. It's me, Ryan from No Border Sports, and Waruna from essentially No Border Sports back in the house. What up?
Yeah. I'm doing good. After a break, glad to be back.
Wonderful. Have you been doing any writing at all lately? I noticed you haven't been
No,
sending me any articles.
no,
Yeah.
not lately.
Well, I think everybody would appreciate you, or appreciate if you did. I'm just letting you a little peer pressure. Want to say some hi to some folks in the house. We got a legend in E Kim in the house. What up, E Kim? Appreciate you stopping in from the man. He's an old school Grant Cohn guy. Was in the Discord. We got Carcast in the house. What up, Carcast? I was just helping him out with his intro. He's learning some things. Watch out for him. I hope he's going to be on the rise here pretty soon. We got Bebop Jones in the house. Also, if you aren't already, please go and subscribe to Carcast. He is another wonderful content creator out here working hard. We appreciate him. Yeah, Bebop, whoop, whoop, go 49ers. That's right. Foghorn. Ooh, do I got a foghorn? I guess that's my foghorn. I don't think you've been on since I got sound effects, Waruna.
No. This is the first time since you got sound effects.
Oh, we got Don Dodson in the house. What up, Don? Kim, I got your Schefter comment starred, and we will talk about that here once we get a second. Yeah, so that's everybody in the house. Oh, he says Waruna, Carcast says Waruna the GOAT. So you want to get a Schefter's comment here?
Yeah, let's start with the Cowboys game as well, so we can combine both topics together.
Okay, sounds great. Ekim says Adam Schefter of ESPN is reporting the Cowboys aren't firing McCarthy and retaining him for one more season.
This is interesting.
What do you say to that?
So this is interesting in the sense before, coming into this broadcast, I was just checking Cowboys 2024 schedule. Now, they literally get 6 games, divisional games. Then they are going to play NFC South, Falcons, Saints, Tampa Bay, Panthers. So if you take the 10 games, they can easily go 8-2. Easily, they can go 8-2. Other than that, they are due to play AFC North. That's a tough one. Let's say they beat teams like Pittsburgh, maybe Browns. They go 2-2. So they will again have another season like 10 wins, maybe 12-win season, and they will be like, okay, McCarthy didn't do bad. He won, and he has another 12-win season because last 3 years they have, continuously 12-win seasons. But end of the day, it doesn't make any sense because they are not making any progress. Because ideally, what you need to do is, doesn't matter whether you win 10 games, 9 games. Once you get into the playoffs, you need to be a real team. You need to show at least you are making a progress, that you can go ahead. You lose this year, but next year you go a step further up, like what Niners are doing. But for some reason, it's obvious. The reasons are obvious, but Cowboys are like, okay, we are not going to change a very simple factor, Jerry Jones. He's the key factor here. The common the common rule, the common reason that Cowboys are not going anywhere. So I think it's a bad decision. Then again, not just the coach, the quarterback. I think Dak Prescott needs to go. Cowboys need to move away from Dak Prescott simply for the reason that he wins meaningless games. He puts garbage stats because I was listening to him talking to the media after the game, after the playoff loss. He was like, we couldn't get it going in the first half because he literally threw the third interception. Cowboys shouldn't have scored that touchdown. It would have been literally 27 nothing, but they were lucky. Cowboys weren't penalized for that false start. Then he threw an interception. The Packers defensive back could not hold on to. What Dak said was, okay, in the second half, we were able to get things going, but it was too late. I'm like, really? You put some stats in the garbage time and you call them that you were able to get going. Packers were even not trying to tackle. They were just literally going through the motions during the second half, right? Their defense was like sleeping. Then you put some garbage stats, and now suddenly you're like, okay, we tried our best. I did my best. It's unfortunate. Okay, we'll come back next year. And then Skip Bayless will say, okay, but this is our year. So because especially Skip Bayless was, I'm bringing this into the conversation, not because I want to trash someone in a national media, but it seems like this is almost part of the reason that why Cowboys are continuously failing, because they were not going to admit that they are not a good team this year in terms of playoffs. He was saying, okay, we have a great opportunity. We can beat Packers. Then we are going to beat Tampa Bay at home. Then Rams will beat Niners at Levi's. So Rams will come to Dallas to play the NFC Championship game. So this is our year. Who on the world thinks like that when you clearly see that Dallas struggled against whenever they played good teams? Yes, 49ers did struggle against Ravens. 49ers lost to Bengals, accept that, but still they can go up. If we have to go up against Bengals or Ravens, it's a 50-50 game. 49ers
Real quick,
can.
I got a
Yes.
real quick question. Do you feel that the Cowboys being able to win against a good team like the Eagles because they're a division rival and they have, a good acquaintance with them, do you think that kind of undershadows all the other stuff that kind of shows that they're not a good team? Because it seems like they beat these bad teams and they kind of smack them and they get an emotion in a groove and it looks really good, but then when they get up against a good team they cave, except for like the Eagles. It seems like they always can get their dander up and play well against the Eagles even in a loss, you know what I mean, away,
Yeah.
and they win at home. Is
Yes,
that
but
something you see?
Cowboys won against Eagles the second game when Eagles were spiraling downwards. They didn't
Yeah,
win
but
against Eagles when they were going. The Eagles were ten
so
and one.
I
That's the thing.
I believe both those teams in the last couple years have split the games, and it's always been the home team wins. So
Yeah.
downward spiral, that's just also adds to me. To me, there's a bigger through line with them splitting it at home because they play really well each other really well at their house. You know what I mean? That to me is a truer through line. But I just wanted to know your thought. Oh, real quick,
Yeah,
let's
that's
say
true.
what's up to Chardal. Shardall
Hey,
Gupta in the
Shadow.
house. What up, Shardall? Appreciate you stopping in. Go
So
ahead. Go
yes.
ahead. Go ahead,
So as I
Shardall.
said, so that's the reason, because it seems like literally, that's a great point. So it seems like literally, this is something really bad that can happen to. I mean, it happens to all of us. That when you tell the, I mean, when you tell the same lie 1,000 times, in your perspective it becomes the truth. So that what happens to Cowboys. I mean, every year they are like, okay, we have the best offense, but if you break down the games, you have scored like 40 plus points against bad teams, but you are struggling against the good teams. But what you are taking is the average. Basically, you are scoring 45 plus against, let's say, Giants or Commanders. Then you score only, like, let's say, 20 points against Lions. Then you take the average. Okay, we are scoring 32.5 uh, per game, and they are like, okay, we are the best offense in the football. So that's the thing. So they are believing their own lies, thinking that we are good, we can do this, we can do so and so forth. The Dak is like playing elite level football. He's been good this year. He will not choke in the playoffs, but it's the same story. It's the same story. So I think, and just to wrap up the topic, two things: Mike McCarthy, it's not going to work; Dan Quinn, not going to work; and Dak. I'm not saying to move on from Dak because I'm a Trey Lance guy that I want to see Trey Lance play. I'm not saying. I don't even think Trey Lance is the solution for Dallas, because the reason is, if you want to play Trey Lance, you need patience. You need to give Trey at least a couple of years to develop his game. Dallas doesn't have that. If they move away from that, they need to find more. If they draft a quarterback, they need a guy who has more college level experience, who can fit in into the system right away and do something good. So that's the thing. Trey Lance even might not be the solution, but they have to move from their coach and quarterback. But it seems like neither of these things happening.
Do you think Jerry Jones really had a choice on firing McCarthy, and why? Because there's a couple different ways you could go with saying, he didn't have a choice, like fans wise, or, like options or team. Do you think he had a choice? What do you think was the reason, the hard point that made him realize he couldn't fire him?
One reason
And there,
would be
yeah, go ahead.
he couldn't find or think about any suitable candidates to replace McCarthy. I mean, that's. I mean, in a way, that's true, right? Because, for example, who are you going to hire? Brandon Staley? No. Cliff Kingsbury? No. I mean, only couple of candidates that I right now I can think of, like, to handle a team like Dallas, because it's different, because you need someone that can match up with Jerry Jones, who can challenge him. Who are the guys you
Yeah.
have literally? Either Bill
Well, not
Belichick or
just
someone
match
like
up.
him,
The
right?
the good coaches want more control over certain things. And you are not getting that in Dallas with Jerry Jones.
Yes,
It's Jerry's show. It
yes,
is totally Jerry's show. You are just there. You're another employee. You know what I mean? You're just like the players. And good coaches don't want to be just like a player. They want to be like a CEO, an executive in the franchise. You know what I mean? Not that
yeah,
they want the stocks, stock options or anything. They just want to be treated like that. They want to have that pull, so they don't have to worry about when they have an idea and want to do something. They don't want to have to jump through hoops or not get it when they believe that the state of their team depends on things like that.
yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
but
that's the thing. So until Jerry Jones, decides to change himself and distance himself from Cowboys. Okay, I'm going to hire a person who is going to handle everything. I'll just be a spectator. I'll jump in when it really needs to be, but I'll step away. Until if he does that, I don't think nothing is going to change.
Yep. And before we move to the next topic, I do want to give a shout out. We lost a 49er faithful earlier this month. Hadn't seen her in the chats and was wondering why. And it turns out she passed away. So want to take a moment in silence to think of our friend Laura Cat. Just so sad that you're gone. You're great for our community and we really appreciate you. So let's take a moment of silence for her. All right. So it's a quest for Corey and Laura this year. We got to get quest for 6. We got to get this Super Bowl for our lost faithful. They're up there right now doing everything they can to help out our team. So, and let's move on to CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans.
Do you see the smile?
You're really excited to talk about this one.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
So one thing I know about Waruna is Waruna loves great quarterback play. He loves to see somebody who will be known as a legend or is already known as a legend. He loves to see good quarterback play out of those men. So CJ Stroud having the year he's having, I know you've been excited. So just tell me.
Okay. So I've been telling you before we get into CJ, I've been telling you that DeMeco Ryans would be a better head coach than Salah. Remember I was telling you that?
Yes. Yep.
And right now he's proving it. But I think there is a element of luck involved with it as well, because think about it. Both were defensive coordinators coming from leaving 49ers, very well handled organization. So they had the opportunity to develop their careers. So they were coming out from good situations. Then both of them had number 2 overall pick in the draft. Salah drafted Zach Wilson, and DeMeco had Panthers messed up, and DeMeco landed with CJ, and rest is history. Literally, rest is history. It's a bit of luck as well, but end of the day, DeMeco is proving that he's a better head coach, because I'm not sure whether you saw this today. There was a clip. It was on the sidelines. So DeMeco was, I can't remember who was the player. So DeMeco was having a conversation with who's Texans defensive back. Here how it goes. He says, okay, once the ball is snapped, you just jump in front and you can intercept the ball. Exactly that happens. So literally, Joe Flacco throws the ball, he snaps the football, throws it, the defensive back jumps right in front of the receiver. It's a pick 6. DeMeco Ryans literally tells his player, okay, this is exactly what is going to happen. This is what you need to do. Boom. That's it. Imagine that level of coaching available to you as a player.
It's like Kyle Shanahan. It's like Kyle Shanahan telling Kittle to look over his shoulder and then break up field because the safety's gonna drop him. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because he thinks he's not a part of his thing. Because he's looking off, he's gonna go, flat, and he goes upfield.
Yes.
Yeah, it's D'Amico,
It's
and
unbelievable.
not just that, but he didn't wait to get his quarterback. He obviously found his guy. I'm pretty sure he knew what he had in his guy. And then he went up, and he's a defensive guy, and he went up and got his edge rusher.
Yes.
Who knows? That guy might be a Hall of Famer. It's hard to come out and be a year one wreck, but he's doing all right. So we'll see how
He's
he goes
doing
long
more
term.
than
But
all right.
CJ
Will
Stroud,
Anderson Jr. is doing more than all right, I would say.
okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like to get first rounders, you hit on like 50% of them, right?
Yes.
I think you hit on both of them.
Yeah.
One of them you knocked out of the park. The other one is a hit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The other one's a hit.
Yes.
CJ Stroud, you knocked out of the freaking park.
Yeah.
So for him to have the balls in his first year to go after both these guys in the draft, because first thing, you don't just go yes to that. The GM's got to sign off on that if it's your idea, or if it's the GM's idea, you got to sign off on that, and the owner's got to sign off on that. So to have the balls to go out and make that move, and it to pay off, it totally paid off. It's the reason why they're in the playoffs. It's the only reason why they're in the playoffs, is because they made that play.
Yes. And one point I want to mention is that, so there, I mean, if we look at if you look across the league, now you see there are kind of new generation of coaches coming out. Like, from the either you can argue it's from the Shanahan tree, but there are new coaches coming out. If you take guys like D'Amico, they think outside the box and they are brave. But if you think what happened to Josh McDaniels at Raiders, what did he do? He was just trying to do it Patriot way. He went back to Jimmy Garoppolo. The guy got benched by fourth or fifth week. Head coach lost his job. Same old story, right? Look what happens in Denver with Sean Payton. But these guys, I believe D'Amico Ryans is still like 36, 37, something like that. So these coaches are young. Even if you take Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, these coaches are young, they are energetic, and they are really brave in terms of their decision making. Look what McVay did. He went out, he got his quarterback, he won his ring. That's it. He had a quarterback who is capable of winning games and getting him to the playoffs, but that was not enough for him. He wanted more. Same with Matt LaFleur. He planned ahead and drafted the guy who he wanted to build his coaching career with. Now look where Jordan Love is. So that's one thing I'm really excited about, is there is like this set of young coaches up and coming, and they are literally changing they are literally stepping up the game and improving the NFL for the next generation. So that's why I'm literally excited for D'Amico Ryans, and as well as CJ Stroud. He is remarkable. I think he's going to be there. I would say it's too early to tell, but there are signs that you can say we will have the discussion by the beginning of the next year that whether CJ is top 5 quarterback or not. So we are going to have that discussion at the beginning of the next year.
I feel that to be true. Is there anything else you want to talk about the Texans?
They are going in the right directions. My only worry is now when they are doing well, their coordinators getting attention from other teams. So I hope that would not stop their progress, because at least I hope that D'Amico gets to have his coordinators, that team for another year or two, so that he can, build the organization into a level that, okay, even a coordinator or two leaves after a year, so he can just quickly rebuild this the coaching staff and everything and move on to the next year. That's the only worry I have.
Real quick, one thing you brought up about a lot of Shanahan tree coaches out there and offensive schemes out there. And so I was thinking about that, and why would they choose such an offense out of all the offenses, especially the young cats? And the only thing I can think of is that it gives them so much of an option to make different corrections no matter what the defense gives you. No matter what offensive play you cook up, there's a defense that can stymie that play. And if somebody knows there's a chance you can run that play on a good ratio, they're going to put that defense in, and there's a chance you get stymied. So for them, they can change the offense by a little bit to make it look like the same thing, but then exploit that defense. So I think that's why you get a lot of these young guys trying this Shanahan system, because they know once they see something, they can make a correction. And once they make that correction, they are now in the driver's seat again. Because once you make a good correction on a team, now you're in the driver's seat against them, and especially in that kind of scheme or that play. But yeah, once you can keep staying in the driver's seat, that's how Kyle wins games. He keeps making the right corrections and keeps staying ahead. Once something gets shut down, or he'll show something to make you go, yep, I'm right. Every time they show up like this, they're running this. Ha ha, we stopped them. They only got 2 yards. Ha ha ha. No, because on the next third down, we're going to run this exact same looking thing, but yet you're going to bite because you're going to know that you're right. And we're expecting that because it's going right behind you.
Exactly true.
So I think that's.
These guys are pretty creative.
Okay. Tommy Huxley in the house with the ass clowns. Appreciate you stopping in.
Yes. Good to see you, Tommy. After a long time.
I am not wearing my makeup today, Tommy, so I wouldn't appreciate you outing me like that. It's not the weekend. I make my money on the weekend, Tommy. So let's go to, oops, wrong one. Let's go to the new topic. Tua and the Dolphins. I sense some things you just really want to get off your chest here. Are you going to throw somebody under a bus or a semi truck or something?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because I think Tua is not the guy. He's just another. Literally, there are a bunch of I think I learned a very good lesson this year, because you can't really trust a quarterback, or let's say judge a quarterback, at least until they play for 3 years, especially if you're not someone like Justin Herbert, CJ, Patrick Mahomes. Unless these guys are really elite level, top level, the next level guys, you have to be really patient with them and at least wait until 3 years to figure out who they really are. I think Tua is that guy. He doesn't have like the strongest arm. He is not the most athletic guy, and he doesn't even have, sometimes he makes bad decisions. Every time Dolphins story is similar to Cowboys this year. They did beat bad teams. When they met good teams, they struggled. So, but the thing is, for some reason, still I think at NFL level organizations, they allow to have some kind of a stability rather than literally go out and build things back from the zero. So I don't. So that's what happens everywhere. Like Cowboys are probably not going to move away from Dak Prescott. Dolphins are not moving away from Tua, so on and so forth. So these guys.
Remember McDaniel's Mike McDaniel's got that job because he was willing to work with Tua because the owner wanted to keep Tua. So I think you're 100% right there. I think he's strapped with Tua until the owner can realize. So I heard a great quote the other day, and it 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 rings so true at the moment. But it's it's easier to fool somebody than to make them realize they've been fooled.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's
Because once they've been fooled, you're in it. You believe it. Someone tells you that what you know to be true is wrong, you're going to fight against that because you know it to be 100% true, right? But what you don't know is every other thing that the other person knows.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because this is the same story, not just for Dolphins, everywhere. With Jimmy Garoppolo, every time uh, his performance in the playoffs and everything came up, people threw garbage stats. Like, okay, he has QBR rating, he's a winner, so on and so forth. Now, once the Kyle Shanahan is not his head coach, look where he is. So that's a problem because all over the league, you see this like, I mean, maybe slightly above average or sometimes mediocre uh, quarterbacks who can win against bad teams. And if you provide them with enough ammunition, like all the weapons that they need in the both sides of the football, they will win you some games, but they are not going to get you to the promised land. They are not going to win a Super Bowl. They cannot carry your team by themselves. So that's the difference, right? Even at the the wild card game, the Chiefs, they were coming. They have a good defense, but in terms of receivers, they are literally garbage. This year, Chiefs receivers are garbage, right? Even Travis Kelsey, he was dropping passes right, left, and center. But what's the one single thing that pushed Chiefs over the line? That's Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is literally keeping them within distance each and every game. He can do it. So that's the difference. Guys like Tua, they are not going to do it because he had Tyreek Hill, he had Jeff Wilson, he had Raheem Mostert, he had all the weapons that he needed, but even they couldn't win the division. They couldn't even win the division. So that's how bad this guy is. So I wish if they move on from him, but again, I don't think they will.
All right. Sorry, I've been looking for this trash talk that Tommy has said that has been out there. I found it. I appreciate that. I guess I don't need to type that back to you, Tommy. Appreciate that. Um, and we'll talk about that here and all later. I'll bring it up for everybody. Appreciate you. Um, Fraudopulo. Um, to me, I think who was it? Ekim right here. I think he hit it on the head here. It's not just Tua. Now, granted, he is a problem, but we've seen an offense like this go to the Super Bowl with a guy like Jimmy G. Okay, who I would say Tua is better than Jimmy G. Do you agree?
I mean, yes, Tua is better than Jimmy G, but my argument is what's the point?
No,
It's like,
I'm
yes,
totally with you there. I'm just
yes,
saying I've seen an offense with a less talented quarterback this exact same offense, like running back and all, essentially, minus a couple of your specialty players are different, but of the same freaking caliber, pretty much. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're physical enough to be able to keep that style of our style of football going. I don't think they have it down in and down out to really put in all the effort, all the work that's needed to actually make these plays work when everybody knows what you're running. Because like we were talking about Kyle Shannon, he's got to run plays that you know exactly what it is because that sets up the dunk, the alley oop. You know what I mean? That's just setting everything up. We're just sucking you in over here so we can just go right behind you. So yeah, I think that's their biggest issue. Weak minded. I I don't want to say they're weak minded, but to me, at some point, they give up. You know what I mean? And that is weak minded to me. Like
Yeah,
if you
because
look,
end
if you
of the
look,
day, what happens? End of the day, what happens is those teams, no matter how well coached, how good the supporting cast is, these teams will go as far as their quarterback is going to take them. That's the reality. There is a tipping point that their quarterback needs to push them, push forward, take the burden, and do the work. But if your quarterback doesn't do that, then you are done. No matter how hard you try. Because there was a very interesting. I think this was between. This was a podcast. I can't remember whether it was hosted by Eric Armstead. So anyway, Mooney Ward was the host that day. The guest that day. So they were talking about the Super Bowl 54, the one Niners lost. So he said, the Wood said that they literally wanted 49ers to hand over the football to Jimmy. They wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to throw the football, not Niners to run the football. So it was kind of, they were both laughing, but that tells you the story. The players know what exactly these quarterbacks are, what they're going to do. So they just wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to take care of, to throw the football, so they know they can stop him. So that's it. So that's why these quarterbacks are not going to succeed but for some weird reasons, organizations are not moving away. Maybe they are scared. Okay, we can move away from Tua, but what's next? Do we have any enough draft capital to get a guy who is at least good as Tua? So we would rather try the same method. It will probably fail for another 2 to 3 years. Uh, so those are like business decisions. So I think that it comes down to that, the business decisions. Are we going to stay at the same level or try something and fail?
yeah, it's also you got to get better. It's like your friends. You're just as good as the friends you hang around with. So if you're trying to get further in life and you look around at your friends that you associate with 100% of the time and they aren't living that life that you're trying to get they're not in the same place that you're trying to get to, you're not going to get there because what they do and you do with them keeps you in the same place. You can't get any higher. It's almost like crabs in a bucket, but without it's subconsciously keeping each other down. So, yeah, that's I think you hit it on the head there. Um, m- let's move to the next topic here. The Eagles' crumbling empire.
I would say I enjoyed that. Literally, I don't. Wish the other teams to fail. Even I would say, even for Seahawks. I mean, I want that team. I'm not saying I want that team to do well, but I don't pray them that team to like go into crash mode, like players to get injured, to see them play bad football week in week out. Because end of the day, the game would be only enjoyable if the other teams are good. So that's the reason. But The Eagles, uh, the arrogance, way they were acting and everything, that was like too much because uh, I'm going to say this. I don't like Nick Sirianni because I don't think he's a professional. I mean, because I know players talk trash. That's fine. That's totally fine. That's what players do. But if you remember last year, I mean, that clip surfaced last couple of days. Super Bowl, Eagles were leading 21-14 just before the halftime. Nick Sirianni just flipped the Chiefs sideline, and Jalen Hurts was there to stop him. Right? This is another clown. So, uh, so these guys are there. So these guys are there. So Nick Sirianni, I believe he's really unprofessional. Uh, the things that he does. I mean, apart from the sidelines, what he did this year at the Chiefs game, what he said to fans, because I even remember last year after they won against the Cowboys, he just flipped the Cowboys. Literally, he said like "fuck you" or something. You don't need to do that because you are a professional coach. I can understand you have the emotions, anger, and everything, but I have never seen even a coach like Bill Belichick, who is really very, you can see a very sour man, a bitter man. But I haven't seen him doing that. I mean, he's so accomplished, but I haven't seen even him doing that. But uh, it's kind of like karma because they were just thinking like, okay, we are the best in the world. We can just talk trash. We can be arrogant as much as we want, but the world comes crashing down. Who knows what they are going to do? And finally, about Eagles, I don't think Jalen Hurts is good. I put them right
Oh,
in the category of another Tua. Um, I mean, Mac Jones in that category, Dak Prescott in that category. I don't think if Eagles are to win a Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts is not the guy. He is literally exposed right now. I mean, Nick Bosa said that before the Eagles game. I believe it was after the Eagles game. And since then, he's just spiraling downwards. I don't think he's the answer for Eagles as well. Eagles will spiral downwards more in the coming years if they are going with Jalen Hurts.
wow. That's pretty damning. Oh, Tua Garoppolo. Jesus. Dolphins look like they wanted none with the cold in the last playoff games. Got to be stronger minded. Okay, yeah, the cold. Okay, I could see how you could say weak minded there. Yeah, I I remember playing a lot of cold games, and I I didn't wear a shirt underneath my pads because once you got sweaty, the pads stuck better to your skin instead of the shirt. So then I didn't have to worry about my pads moving around. They kind of stuck to me more, so I could move. I felt like I could move better, and we had bigger pads back then. So like there'd be cold games, and I'm on the sideline. We didn't have no jackets. You just have to keep moving. You know what I mean? Like I would lose feeling in my thumb and my pinky and ring finger by the end of some games. You know what I mean? Because it's so cold out there. It just start working its way in. It just gets so cold. It never got lost all feeling, but you know, you could tell that things weren't right. I had to be cautious of how I was using my fingers, but and that's not as cold as they were playing. But you know what I'm saying? It's freezing, and I got no shirt on underneath pads, and I'm sweating. You know, yeah. Where we going to now? We done with the Eagles? Is
Yes, we
there?
done. I think, yeah. I mean, we
All right,
yes, we can move on to the most important game, the game coming up.
all right. Now, last night, just real quick before I get your whole feelings on something. Last night, Mariah said something that really clicked with me. And she said, Jordan Love is what I felt like we were going to get in Trey Lance. What we're seeing from Jordan Love right now, in as far as the play goes, the zipping the ball down the field, making plays with his feet. That's what she thought she was going to get with Trey Lance, and she's watching it with Jordan Love. And I wonder is now I I I second that. I just feel that Trey Lance was going to be better than that. You know what I mean? Better than what I'm seeing out of Jordan Love. I just felt, whatever. Maybe it's because he's ours that I felt like we were going to, maybe because he was, 3 first-round draft picks. I don't know. But what's your thoughts?
So I would say that, let's say now at the time of the draft, right? Jordan Love was drafted in 2020, Trey in 21. So at the time of the draft, let's say coming out, both the rookies, if you ask me to compare them, I think Jordan Love was the better quarterback at that time. At that time, you mean coming into the draft, Jordan Love was the better quarterback. If you asked him to play a game, he would have performed better. But I believe Trey Lance has the highest ceiling. Unfortunately, Niners didn't. I mean, Trey got injured. Niners didn't have the patience to, develop him the way they should. And but in contrast to that, the Packers had the patience. They wanted to develop him, and eventually now he is there. And there's another point. This year, at the beginning, it seemed like Jordan Love was like struggling, but part of the reason was his receivers were not in the same frequency as with him. His receivers are really young. They are the youngest team in the NFL. I think they are the youngest team in the playoffs in last 50 years or something like that. So the receivers and Jordan Love, they didn't have the chemistry, but now they have the chemistry, and now you see what he can really do. So I would say it's very hard to judge what it could have been. Maybe Trey Lance wouldn't have panned out the way Jordan Love is right now. Uh, but in terms of the hope and what we believed, we expected something better than Jordan. Trey Lance to be, as you said, Trey Lance would have been much better, like elite level top 5 quarterback than Jordan Love. Yes.
Real quick, I want to say what's up to Load the Truth. What up? Appreciate you stopping in. Yes, the Cowboys are keeping Mike McCarthy. Also, I'd like to bring up something that Tommy brought up. Now we'll bring this up here. Warren, I don't know if you saw this, but we got a offensive lineman from the Packers talking trash. And let's see. Okay, here we go. Oh shit, it's not showing yet. There we go. It says Devontae Wyatt on Brock Purdy. When D linemen just get pressure into him, he's always throwing off, or it's behind them, or it's overthrown, or short. When you get pressure on him, it's it's guaranteed we'll get a turnover. And then Matt Schneedelman says Purdy led the NFL this season in passer rating when pressured. So they got an offensive lineman talking trash about Brock Purdy. What's your thoughts on this? Do you think is this just some guy talking out his mouth with what's the deal? Are they only looking at the
So
bad games?
yeah, so I like to see like the entire what you call the naysayers out there. So because not just the Packers players, if you watch all these national media shows, they're like, okay, I mean, Packers are super hot right now. Jordan Love is in a great form. Jordan Love is the better quarterback than Brock Purdy, so on and so forth. Now, the thing is, what they don't understand is they are comparing Dallas Cowboys of who are literally frauds during playoff times. Dak Prescott, who does nothing during the playoffs, versus 49ers and Brock Purdy. Because right now, if I have to pick up who is the better quarterback that between Brock and Dak Prescott, it's easily Brock. To me, it's easily Brock. He has played against better teams. He has shown much more to me. So Niners are way better than Dallas on the both sides of the football because they can run the football. Then they have the wide receivers, the tight. I mean, Kittle, everyone, and the defense. Defense is not going to be as easy as the Dallas defense that Packers faced. Then the Packers defense is not that big because we saw that because if you put pressure on Packers defense, it will fail. But I'm not going to say that okay, this game is done. There is no way that Packers can win. I'm not going to make that statement. Yes, 49ers are 10-point favorites, but having said that, if Packers play disciplined game, no turnovers, if they can force a couple of turnovers from the Niners, yes, they can win. And I wouldn't be surprised if Packers win this game. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't like the fact that everyone is acting like 49ers are just uh, waiting to get rolled over by Packers. It's not going to happen. If you have watched the games, how the Niners played, whether their opponents are good or bad, you know what they are going to do. They are literally going to stick to the basics, running the football, and then just get Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, CMC also open as wide receivers and score these touchdowns. So it's a hard matchup. It's a really hard matchup for the Packers. So if they can do that, if they can beat 49ers, I would say, if they think they can beat 49ers, I mean, they would even go to win the Super Bowl because that would be the ultimate test. That would be the ultimate test. But I do believe right now, personal wise, coaching and everything, 49ers are still the better team, unless otherwise some injuries or unexpected things happen. So I wouldn't, end of the day, I would say these are like most of the time just trash talking. Okay, we know what we are going to do, so and so forth. Okay, fine. Do it until you come to the device, play the game, then you will realize that what's exactly going to happen because the reason is Packers doesn't have the ability to pressure Purdy that much because Packers defense is not good and nine even they are going to pressure Purdy. Niners have other ways to answer that, so Niners can easily do that. So that's why I'm saying I'm not saying I'm worried, but at the same time the Packers aren't Packers doesn't make me worry as they think they should.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I got a hard out here at 6. I gotta be on with Joe on the rivalry on his channel, so make sure to go check us out over there. Um, I I feel we've had Matt LaFleur, even though it's come down close. It seems like Kyle's always one step ahead of LaFleur, and I feel he's gonna have our defense ready. You know, with you know, I know Steve Wilkes is a pro, but I'm sure Kyle's going to be like, hey, Steve, this is what he likes to do. You know what I mean? So I feel there's going to be a little bit of that. But if there are multiple turnovers, who knows what can happen? With that, I got to say, peace out. I appreciate everybody here. Waruna, thank you for coming through and doing a show. It's been so long. I appreciate it so much. Even Ekim says he loves the classic Waruna shows. Ryan Waruna shows. Appreciate you so much. We're out of here. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Go Niners. Quest for Laura Cat and Corey. Let's get number 6.